Wow, what a busy week for the Detroit Lions. They just keep on making moves. So many things have happened, and we're going to break this down and also preview at the end of the video. We're going to preview this Texans game, and it's going to be a lot of fun Sunday night. Here's what's going on. I'm going to get into some of the guys that we signed and some things that happened, but just on a big picture, we get Melon Fonwu and Emmanuel Mosley had full practices. So they opened up their 21-day window and they're just like full practice and ready to go. So I don't know if that means they play this week or if they wait until next week, but there's two high-level starter-level guys in the secondary that are coming back. Josh Paschal came back. He had like a biopsy on his shoulder. He's good to go, ready to go. Brian Branch comes back. I mean, he was suspended, but then he comes back. J-Mo's back. Zadarius Smith. So the Hutch thing, I think that's still it still hurts bad, and it's still in the back of our minds. But in general, we're getting healthier, and we're getting guys back. That's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. So that is really good. Also, before we get any further in the video, link for this hat is in the description, guys. People were asking about it last time, so links in the description. Also, your Mount Rushmore of Detroit Lions players. Somebody was asking about this or made a comment about it and got me thinking. So here's my Mount Rushmore. Barry, Kelvin. And then it's like, from there, for me, it's like wide open. I like Chris Spielman just for what he did in the 90s. Remember, the 90s era of Lions football was good. The expectations were to do more, with Wayne Fonts. So, you know what I mean? Like Scott Mitchell was always getting ragged on. But, like, they were generally competing really well. He was a big part of that. So Chris Spielman's 3, and then 4. Oh my gosh, there's so many different ways you can go. So you tell me. Let me know your Mount Rushmore of Detroit Lions in the comments. All right, here's the moves. Look at all these moves that happened. Is pretty crazy. So you've got earlier this week, they signed 3 defenders back to their practice squad after they cleared waivers. Chris Smith, Abraham Beauplan, and Ezekiel Turner. Ezekiel Turner's the newest linebacker / defensive end, but they had to make all these moves to make room for Zadarius Smith and Jameson Williams coming back. They clear waivers, so these guys come back. Turner's the newest guy. He's 6'2", 214, played defensive back at Washington, went undrafted, kind of converted to linebacker, and then spent the next 6 seasons as one of the league's most consistent special teams players. So we get him. So, again, make this point that Brad Holmes and things that he does and, GMs around the league, you think about what they do in the off season, but, draft, free agency, but in season, there's a lot of moves being made. So love to see that we get Turner, a really high-level special teams player that he's on the practice squad now, but could jump into those roles as a linebacker if we need him, because linebacker is really an area. Linebacker, defensive end is really beat up, but at the same time, it's nice to have some depth there. So, again, I go back to what I said to start this video. I think that's the bigger key, and we'll look at some of these new guys as well. But Melon Fonwu practiced fully. Mosley practiced fully. Paschal's back. Branch is back. J-Mo and Zadarius Smith. I'll let you know here in a minute if Zadarius Smith is going to play this week, if I think he plays for the Lions this week after trading for him. But I want to go to Ezekiel Turner again. Remember, he played for the Arizona Cardinals for 5-6 years, and then after that, he's kind of bounced around a little bit this year with the Niners, Texans, Seahawks, and out of the Lions. So something's going on a little bit, but this guy's 6'2", 215, and has played a lot of football. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited about him. Kind of excited about what Ezekiel Turner can do, and then Abraham Beauplan is another guy that we picked up, 6'2", 235, linebacker, went to the Minnesota Vikings undrafted, and now he comes to us. He was there all last season on the practice squad, and then comes to the Detroit Lions this year. So we're bolstering the defensive end side of things, and then we're getting guys back. Offensively, man, we continue to stay healthy, and it looks good. So here's my thoughts on if Zadarius Smith will play. I I'm curious if he will. And here's why I don't think he really will, honestly, play that much. Even if he does, is the Cleveland Browns are on a bye this week, so he was going to be a bye week. So they gave him a couple days off. So he hasn't even been really practicing. And then you're asking him to like move, come to the Detroit Lions, and then you're going to travel, do a Sunday night game. It's just kind of a lot. And he hasn't been around the guys, doesn't know the plays. I mean, it's defensive end, so he can definitely get in there on some 3rd and longs and stuff like that. But I could see us being like, long season. You haven't had a bye yet, Za'Darius. This is your bye. See you next week. And we go one more week without him. But the other guys, man, J-Mo back. That whole gun thing just kind of went away. I don't know what's going on with that, but we shall see. Branch is back. And you know what's pretty cool about the whole Branch thing is that he just kind of like, the secondary is like all became closer through it. It was like weird, you know. Again, it wasn't this like the craziest thing in the world, but he does. He gets thrown out. He flips the crowd off, and now there's T-shirts being made, and it's like, yeah, they just loved it, and that's what Amon-Ra St. Brown said on his podcast, was like, just got us pumped when that happened. It's like, okay, all right. Here's something I'm just loving. Aaron Glenn, I'm loving that everyone's kind of coming around to Aaron Glenn. And here's what he had to say about the game. He says, this thing's really getting out of hand. He said, I'm not a social media person, but I have 3 kids, and they're grown. My wife of 28 years. And let me say, first off, she told me I was much better up here last time because I smiled, so I want to make sure I put that out there. So just he's talking about his the memes and everything of him being just all over the internet. Here it is. Yeah. Which was really funny because, you know, just give a wiper to that. And he's like, nah, I don't want to. So it's been nice to see that he's lightening up a little bit. He's always like so serious, which is fine, but he was talking about it, and basically it's been relentless. Everyone's like having fun with it. He's having fun. And the bigger picture is like he's getting credit now for being a good defensive coordinator. You see why he was mentioned for head coaching jobs and the whole thing. Like, I think around the league, he's really well respected. They love how he coaches up defense, how physical we are. And that's the thing. There's two players I want to highlight on defense, Jack Campbell and Anzalone. They just play hard, aggressive, little bit, not dirty, but just they're just right on the edge, and it's like, that is awesome. So that's the way that the Lions play. Now you've got the secondary with an attitude. The linebackers are just hard-nosed, playing hard as can be. Then you got the defensive line now with Za'Darius Smith, Josh Paschal's coming back, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, like kind of coming like, let's go. So I love what we're doing. Can't wait to see it. Now, if we turn our attention to this game, there's some things that are, I don't know. This game is, the thing I keep kind of coming back to is like, man, the Lions are obviously very good. The Lions do the major things really well. And the biggest thing is special teams, unbelievable, really. Jake Bates making all his field goals. Jack Fox is punting out of his mind. So field position is very in our favor. The other thing that we do really well, we don't turn the ball over. So we don't give you a short field, never give you a short field. We're constantly punting it. And you know, if we have to, we're giving you a long field. We also are really good at, we basically have to have 4 downs to get 10 yards because we're good. And so if you're not very good on offense, then you can't get 2 yards on 4th and 2. We know that we can, or that the probability is very high. So it's like, all right, the way this plays out is we run it, we get 2 yards. All right, 2nd and 8, run it again, get 2 yards. So we get stuffed 2 times in a row. Now it's 3rd and 6. All right, we got two plays to get 6 yards. We run it again. And usually on those third downs when we run, we get either 5 or 6, 7 yards. So if we get 5 and now it's 4th and 1 and we get it, right? So it's just hard to beat us. Also really good in the red zone, both offensively and defensively. If you think about it from an analytics standpoint, it makes a lot of sense why a touchdown is so important and why Dan Campbell goes for it. And I'm really getting on board with this. It's taken me like 3 years. But here's why it's so important is because touchdown, we know touchdown rush point, 7 points. So that requires 3 field goals to match or exceed that. I know that 3 times 3 is 9, but you get what I'm saying. If you have 7 points, 2 field goals isn't enough. So if you can just score 1 time, that is like you going down there and getting 3. You would have to get 3 field goals to exceed 7 points. That's what I'm saying. That's 3 possessions, 3 trips down there. So if you can get 1 touchdown, it's huge. That 7 points is so huge. So when we go for it and we're aggressive, and you saw it last week, we went for it, got him both times, game over. That's what we got to continue to do, and I hope that we continue to stay aggressive. We will. But like I hope that I and us as a fan base come around to like this is probably the right thing to do because we're in it. Oh, and also it helps if you're really good. So I love to see that, and I love seeing a talented team because I used to think, man, we're talented. We don't need to do this, Dan. Like, we don't need to go for it. We don't need to take these chances. He looks at it like, we're talented. We can do this. It's like, okay, you're right. I think you're right. And he is right. So when we play the Texans, they have had trouble interior offensive line, a lot of trouble. They cannot protect the quarterback. Perfect. We're kind of a little weaker there right now on defensive line, but I think we can get to them. And then indoors, man, Jared Goff, it's going to be a red out or red sea, like a battle red thing that the Texans are doing. Cool. Love it. This team has such an attitude and such a belief that they're going to win. That is what, remember Aaron Glenn said a few years back, like, we have to expect to win. And like, we are at that point, like we expect to win. And it's crazy. And you know, what's also fun about this is like, it's taken 2 years, but you've really, as fan base, we've really worked out the jitters of like, oh boy, what's going to happen? Are the other team's going to come back? Or how are we going to lose this? It's like, no, we're good. We really are. We're going to get first downs. We close out the game on offense. Just don't take this for granted. This is a lot of fun, doing a lot of things really, really well. And just, yeah, it's just so fun to watch. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your Mount Rushmore, and I'll see all of you on the next one.